Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome back, guys. Happy Wednesday. We are officially at the midpoint of the week, and what a way to market, but with another macro data day. I know how much we love to talk about macro data, CPI, and inflation. But I really want to focus today, of course, on the positioning and how the market will trade out of this event. But first, guys, I'm Snorlax. You also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Jackus and Tucker. Welcome, guys. We're going to have a great show for you today. Discuss, obviously, markets getting a bit of a spike down here on CPI. I kind of feel like we're going to reverse that, to be honest, at some point, either today or tomorrow, and that we can put in some sort of lower time frame midterm bottom, hopefully. But obviously, we will discuss that more. There's been a lot, some stuff happened overnight as well within DeFi that I think is worth talking about as well. Before we can touch on everything, guys, I'm going to need you to smash the like button. I didn't even look at the like button yesterday. I know I asked you to smash it for us yesterday, but I'm gonna call upon your animal spirits once more to annihilate the like button. Use any adjective you need, any verb you need to destroy that like button for us. We are always very appreciative when you do so, and of course, when you do it, you definitely allow our channel to continue growing and continuing to make this content for you. So, but yeah. Let's get into the markets. Let's get into more serious matters. Obviously, like I said, we are seeing. I mean, it's hard to even call it a dump, right? Like I know ETH is down 3 or 4%, but when you kind of look at the realized volatility in markets lately, is a 50 to 100 point move on ETH really all that much? I would say probably not. We are coming into a pretty big level of demand for ETH, for Bitcoin, for a lot of these altcoins that lead me to believe we're close to a bottom, right? At the very least, from a time standpoint, that makes me want to begin prospecting, looking for some counter trend bounces, right? Or even some reversals, just kind of depending on your perspective on the market. But I do think at the very least, it's probably no longer going to be paying lucratively to be a bear. And so I like the risk reward here increasingly on the side of the bulls. Sure, we could kind of see some more shenanigans today. I was kind of looking for ETH to come into 1700, 1750 today. I don't know if it will. But I am seeing some strength across the board when I look at a lot of these altcoins, right? Of course, overnight, we also had, I guess, some drama with Hyperliquid as well. A little bit of a stress test. Somebody was trying to, I think, take advantage of kind of the way they structured their HLP, which is more or less automated to be able to liquidate positions efficiently and effectively, while obviously allowing the protocol to profit. I think that there have been some countermeasures taken to try and prevent this from occurring, but it's always a great lesson in this lovely world of DeFi that we have, and of course a great stress test for Hyperliquid. So I think this will be worth keeping an eye on. But more drama in crypto, obviously more drama in TradFi. But I'll tell you what I'm noticing in TradFi here that I find personally to be somewhat of a positive and kind of support this idea that altcoins and crypto are potentially prospecting a bounce. I look at things like NVIDIA, up 5% today. We often talk about what leads equity markets. For me, what's been driving the price action recently is that, is NVIDIA topped, right? I guess that's a very important question we're going to have to be asking ourselves over the next few weeks. But I do think locally, NVIDIA could very well be bottomed, as well as you're finally seeing volatility get crushed in equities as well a little bit. I mean, I'm not willing to say that it's that the VIX is cooked just yet, but this is beginning to look like an SFP on those mid-December highs that the VIX put in. And I think that would enable some relief in equity markets. But that's what I'm seeing right now, guys. I think we're in some people have jokingly referred to it as an interesting spot. across the board for markets. I couldn't agree more. I'm looking forward to these next few weeks, though. I'd love to open the floor up. What are you guys thinking about? Obviously, it was a cool CPI print, so the fundamentals show us that inflation is continuing to come down, which will obviously be good for potentially interest rate cuts later this year. I know that might be something worth discussing later today as well. But what are we seeing in the markets, guys?
Well, I agree with you on the VIX here, Tommy. I think that is an astute observation. Send it down, man. Send the VIX to 0. No, it actually still looks kind of decent on a higher time frame, unfortunately, but I do agree. You could probably see some relief here. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get a bounce out of equity. Somebody was asking me that this morning, like, where do you think equities could bounce? And I'm like, I was really hopeful it would be back here at 5650, honestly, but at this point, it's probably more like 5400. But yeah, anyways, I think we should talk about this.
We were talking about this after the stream
Unfortunately,
yesterday.
yeah, because this is a slightly concerning. The move index is bond market volatility, so don't love that. Don't love that. Thoroughly enjoyed this regime, right? Thoroughly enjoyed that being bullish, but yeah, we don't. Well, here's something. I guess here's something, right? This went up until, yeah. You were able to have some upward movement, and things still top like they did in Q4 of 2021, kind of blow off, but yeah, not great. I mean, I would like to see this go lower, so we'll see. We'll see. What do you guys think about the move?
I guess I think it just comes down to what do you think is going to cause a big move in rates, right? Like, what is something like TLT doing today? I know I was admittedly getting a little bit bullish on TLT last week. I have since kind of lost a bit of that bullishness on TLT. I feel like it might be a bit too early, and kind of the reason for that is, I mean, I think it's two reasons probably. I mean, you talk about, I think you have $5 or $6 billion worth of debt from the Treasury market maturing here over the next 6 months, which will put downward pressure on TLT. And then, of course, I think they're probably going to end up stimulating, which will probably cause just a tiny little bit of inflationary fear. So maybe our move on move, no pun intended, is going to be because you see yields make that last stab up that we were kind of talking about a few weeks. I know nobody is talking about the possibility of yields actually trending higher right now, because why would they? Inflation is clearly on the decline, but at the same time, we also know they're going to meet any market decline with stimulus. I don't know if it will be explicitly QE, but this is kind of something I've increasingly been thinking about here over the last few days.
I mean, I'm ready for the stimulus, Tommy. I don't know about you, but seeing a decline, I'm still waiting for the stimulus.
Stimulate us.
Yeah.
Stimulated, baby. When it comes to the move index, it's something I've been watching or like I have it in my index list as well, but it's not something that I find to be very actionable, except very rare big spikes. I do not know how about you, but when it comes to like looking at the chart, I rather tend to think it's more like that 2008 spike that we had on the move index. Maybe if you could put that in,
Yeah.
like, just so that people know what we are talking about.
You're talking about that?
Yeah, so like I think we had that in with that spike that we had in March 2023 sort of, and now it's kind of going to be going down in a similar fashion right after it, with occasional spikes, just looking at this chart and sort of get back to normal levels, because it seems to me like the average is way lower on this chart on the overall. And but again, I'm not finding as much actionable stuff that I can translate for my positions. I don't know, that's just me. I find actionable stuff on Wix, but not on a Move.
The Move is ironically a lot more of like a slow moving indicator than something like the VIX, which is a lot more immediately responsive to market turmoil. I do think that it's something to be wary of. Just kind of, you look at that zoomed out chart, that looks pretty insane from a bull standpoint. So probably something to watch out for later this year. But I agree, Jackus. I don't think it's very rare that it's a super actionable index. Tucker, what were we looking at yesterday that was a bit more Wasn't it HYG?
Yes, it was HYG.
I think this is like a bit more responsive of a way of looking at something like the Move, is just kind of high yield corporate bonds. I know how exciting it is to look at these charts, but it is important to be able to assess risks here over the next few months.
Yeah, we want this chart to go up.
The crowd is like,
You can
wait,
tell.
did I forget to press the like button? Why are we looking at the whole futures?
I know. I mean, we just we want this chart to go up. This is just showing that people are willing to buy risky corporate bonds, essentially. Like when risk is on, when it's really on, this chart goes up, right? So we saw that with Bitcoin. Like this should be directly correlated to Bitcoin. So gonna need to see this chart hold up. Like when this thing topped, right? Bitcoin basically topped. So that was the big recovery. Let me see if this goes back even farther, actually. I haven't really done a ton of analysis into this, but yeah, I don't know. Not crazy signal, but in general, you want it to go up. So
I think it's something to tuck away.
Yeah,
I don't know if I think it's going to cause anything imminently, but I do think that there are some very real risks present in equity markets that, I mean, although we've come down, I still think the market is kind of ignoring just a little bit. I know Chris City always was talking about this a little bit this morning. I can read the tweet verbatim because I really liked his take on the matter. But I mean, he was basically saying that he doesn't really like to be bearish, even though he's primarily like a volatility manager. Obviously, they're looking for volatile events to take advantage of. But he was saying that that this new administration is trying to usher in volatility, and he didn't quite anticipate the level of aggressiveness they'd push for in that reset to drive them lower. But his view is this: is that he believes the administration will continue to weigh on equities until a real policy trigger potentially triggers a market crash. That scenario seems months away, not imminent. In the meantime, I expect headline-driven rallies, but they will likely be met with more selling, which I kind of feel like is very similar to how I'm viewing something like crypto at the moment. I mean, maybe this is a generational dip buying opportunity, right? And we look back in 6 to 8 months, altcoins, Bitcoin, equities, all trading at all-time highs, and it was all just a dip, right? But I think for now, I'm bullish here. But I'm renting that conviction, I think, for a few weeks. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I would say it really depends on an asset, just as this whole cycle, because something can look good and something can look bad. What I mean with that, right? Like when I look at BTC, I would still say that it's looking incredibly well, and I do expect the further bull market to continue. I honestly cannot fathom how BTC drops like sub 55K and remains like bullish. That doesn't make sense at all to me. So I do remain bullish because we've really broken out of the 4-year ascending channel. We've broken it to the upside. And now that we are retesting it, which, on a hourly time frame, everyone would be buying all day long. But because it's a weekly, then we see max fear instead here. So I cannot fathom how we do not see this chart just blow up, unless it's truly entirely over and we see some crazy recession and a style of the great one. Then I just think this chart is holding really well compared to all other assets, honestly, I would say. And yeah, but lots of other stuff, that's questionable.
Yeah, the altcoin market looks pretty barren at the moment, but obviously, we've discussed this before. What alts probably need more than anything is kind of just time to be able to carve out new ranges, reaccumulate before they can move higher. But with that said, I do think like so many of these things are so beaten down, it makes sense that we see some bounces here, even on the most beaten down. Even on the ones that we're gonna want to meme at times and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been looking for strength here over the last few days, not weakness.
And obviously, what I said, that can still mean that we see like lower time frame spikes lower. But when I look at stuff, I don't know what's your take currently on BNB, but I still think that it has a little lower to go at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I haven't really been paying that much attention to BNB lately, but I did kind of have a retest to that 1700, 1750 level on ETH earmarked potentially for today. But I think if we don't take it today, then I don't know that we will before some sort of squeeze higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think let's see. BNB doesn't look bad. Doesn't look terrible. I could see coming down here again, but
BNB might finally take that 200 level, says one guy.
200. Oh my God. You mean the floor from the?
That reminds me of all these ICT guys who also said that Bitcoin might take that 200 level too, like literally 200 level. Sounds kind of funny when Bitcoin is trading at it's traded to 100,000 lately. So
No, I remember when we were right here. Oh my gosh. And I remember everybody was saying we're gonna come down to 40. I thought we were gonna break down too. I didn't think we were gonna get $50, but maybe here, and we just boom. See you later.
see you later.
I remember the BNB chart reminded me a lot of MakerDAO coming down in like 2021. But yeah, when it held that low and then gave you what a lot of these crypto charts will end up doing, it ends up being such a clean setup always in hindsight, is like you obviously get that capitulatory low and then you get kind of this weak move higher, which it got, and then you get that low volatility move back into the wick, or back into the capitulation, and on that, when you see like just the really small candle bodies, it ends up being a very actionable signal that there's a very large volatile move loading, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, like when it comes to BNB, I think it does sweep some of these lows, but counting with 200 is just like not valuable right now. And people saying that, or like I generally do not like to I suppose it depends from like if the people can defend their argument for certain levels. But I remember that like ICT back then for Bitcoin, right? That's sort of the thesis I'm attacking, is that ICT back then just said, hey, equal lows on a chart, and therefore we must come back to sweep them. Or like, because I've heard this so many times, like, hey, FVG right down there, we must come back and fill it. Or like, no, we don't. We don't. Like we could if there is like way more arguments for it, and it would make sense from a contextual perspective, right? And we were close to it, then sure. But just because you have some equal lows on a Apple stock that's currently like thousands of percent higher, no, right?
What do you think of this chart, Jackass? What do you think of BNBEs?
And I do not mean it here in a bad way.
It looks insane, dude.
Damn.
I'm not trying to, be bad or anything, techie guy. I'm just like saying that I do not think the 200 level right now is worth discussion. I think the moment it would become a reliable point of view would be if BNB traded sub 340. Like at that point, like not just touch it, but really accept below, right? And at that point, I think that 200 equal low from October 2023, that's definitely a good target. But right now you have too many supports along the way, and again, for BNB to go down there, you would have to see a wild recession in which you would probably have to see BTC sub 50k. You would probably see like ETH at, I do not know even what, like $500.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
But like, you know what I mean? So yeah, BNB is that's a chart I've been bullish on for a while too. But I was hoping it would come from BNB outperforming on the upside.
Yes. Not ETH underperforming to the downside, of course. Yeah.
What does Sol ETH look like?
Wait. Before that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe Sol BNB. No, just type Sol BNB.
I know you have a thing about that, Jackass. I know you have a thing about that. It has to be the pair chart. Wait, okay, yeah. Sol BNB, but inverted. This doesn't look.
It looks pretty bad. Why does that look like the inverted again? Yeah, that.
What?
That looks pretty bad. I thought I saw something. I didn't.
You can tell me after the show. You saw something.
Can I have can I give a hot take here? I think Sol ETH will retrace its entire move up this year.
This year?
Sol ETH.
The entire move.
So back to down here.
Maybe not like all the way back to the lows, but to like 0.15.
Oh my.
I think it's gonna do it.
Because
why so bullish?
Yeah, because what are USD prices doing, Tommy?
We won't discuss that.
Oh no. It's because ETH is outperforming, right?
Right. Anakin face.
Yeah, Anakin.
Eduardo asking, what do I need to see to be buying BTC again? So first of all, I already am, and second, like for me to be really confident in a bottom is truly NVIDIA bottom. VIX, I think VIX is already elevated nicely, but would love to even see more prices to be fully confident, and generally just equity stabilizing in that regard. But yeah, I think BTC, listen, BTC in my opinion is at levels that you will not regret buying under the condition that we do remain bullish on the higher time frame. So you're essentially buying levels where people are at max fear and people have capitulated and got liquidated, which are historically great levels to be buying at on a fundamentally sound assets.
What?
Oh my god. Nature's healing is what I would say, but
Right.
I will say
And he would be like, well, welcome back, Diamond Hands. How was the move?
I did tell Jackson Tucker, though, in all fairness, I just bought a Solana meme coin that I think is going to give a nice bounce. Although I'm not gonna, I'll give it in the Discord. I'm not gonna give it publicly just yet. So take with that what you will. But I really do like some altcoins here for some big reversion.
The audience be like, all right, keep your secrets.
Well, maybe if
look at hype, bro. Look at hype. It's so bad, Tommy.
It is bad, man.
That looks terrible.
I don't know, man.
I spot to bid for like a bounce.
Yeah,
but I'm personally a little bit scared of bidding, just given the uncertainty. I guess that's, you know, in theory, the point of maximum opportunity. But I also think there's a lot of opportunity in other altcoins. So do I really want to bid hype given the FUD? I don't know.
Damn, you're gonna let them FUD you out of it, Tommy?
I can always.
You were so excited to buy it, though.
I am long hype perpetually just by using the platform, to be honest.
Fair.
Perpetually sounds about right. The double meaning.
They will end up doing probably another airdrop, I think, at some point. So if you are still doing volume on Hyperliquid, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, we discussed these levels that they are likely to come and in February.
Yes, we did. I got a lot of hate for saying that this would come back down when it was the strongest coin in the market.
We did receive lots of hate for saying things would come back down. And then when it is done, you receive even more hate. Because it's down.
When it was like in here, man. Yeah, I remember that.
I just feel like the overall sentiment of the market really does remind me a lot of like January 2022, when it's like we just had this huge move down, and now and people were obviously, most were very late to the trend shift. I wasn't, you know, I wouldn't call myself necessarily like the earliest to the trend shift, but you know, we were early enough to avoid the worst of it. But at the same time, like, this is when bears who are probably pretty new to the trend start to get very loud. And then they just get probably their eyes squeezed out at some point here over the next few weeks. I really think that's what's likely to happen.
Can we look at it? Yeah, we are already looking at it.
Oh my God.
Man, you know what I love about this chart is that, and I know there's not that much to love, but lots of people who thought they are smart for waiting really like long before being bullish on this chart. They got then bullish on the chart thinking they were smart, and instead it just kept going down again.
Why you got to describe me like that?
Yeah.
No, that's
Like
that's literally been everyone,
here,
though. No, that's just been everyone. Everyone's been wrong about ETH-BTC at this point, except like maybe like perma bears, right?
The May ETF trade was nice. Other than that,
you're cooked. Yeah,
it's been pain.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't really know, unless ETH Bitcoin is just going to be in a downtrend forever, and Bitcoin dominance is going to be trending higher forever, which, I mean, let's be honest, there is a decent probability that given the flows into Bitcoin versus altcoins, that's possible. It doesn't mean there won't be huge opportunities in altcoins still, but on a relative basis, Bitcoin could just grow more than the market. You know, I generally tend to think we'll be beginning to bottom here, but I can't even I can't commit myself to taking any sort of position based off that.
No, it's just a bottomless pit, Tommy.
It is
bottomless pit, dude.
I just feel like everyone tried to call a bottom on this chart and it sort of didn't work out by now. And I mean, like this chart makes no sense if you think about it. Like the thing is about bear markets, right? Is that usually you tend to get a like real squeeze pump that takes some significant highs along the way. But this chart really just has been like down since 2022, since September, and didn't really have much like it didn't, you know what I mean? Like if you were to go on a weekly, you do not really see it spike to higher levels. Like if you look at on Bitcoin USD chart, even in the 2022 bear market, right? You had that like temporary upside swings up in from January to March. But on this chart, you just had nothing like that. And obviously, this can happen on low illiquid shit coins. But usually, when you get a second largest coin, you tend to get some type of bounces along the way. And like there were bounces, but not like structural or like temporary, upside inside of a bigger bear or anything. Just like up and down.
I mean, it's insane, bro. Like this is I don't see how you can't bottom in here, right? But that's I mean, I guess if people are wondering, that is what's different this time about our post-halving year versus normal post-halving years is you had a massive BTC rally right at the beginning of the year, and we have absolutely not seen that. So that is what is different, right?
Yeah, there was no traditional alt season in like the terms in which alts would outperform Bitcoin in the overall. But there has been obviously along the way lots of alts that have outperformed Bitcoin. Whether that's XRP, whether that's Sol, and there's been lots of great opportunities. So again, it's like yeah, whatever.
Let's talk about some of the alts that we do like here, though, that look at least strong relative to the market. Maybe they've just been, maybe they dumped harder faster than others. Maybe they've just kind of been showing strength here over the last week. I'll start. I mean, one asset I think in particular that can outperform is actually Sonic, the Phantom rebrand. I mean, new coins probably will do well if we get some alt BTC reversion higher, and I really like the Sonic strength that we've seen here over the last few days.
When I pull it up on the monthly,
zoom in.
The strength we've seen here over the last few oh, that's funny. Yeah, it's trying to bottom here. We'll see.
You have a pretty clean invalidation, I think, as well.
Yeah, you do.
I still think what the space really needs right now is regain confidence. People once again need to start buying the tech and stop as much trying to trade the chart, on its own. And I think that's been the real difference this cycle, where people just sort of like being, it's all a scam. So I'll just buy, the most ridiculous sticker. And I think that needs to change again. And speculation will always be there, and it's a good thing. I would say, but it needs to be complementing, it needs to be complementing the actual narrative
ethos.
behind,
The
not
ethos
other way
of
around.
crypto, man.
Yeah.
It's like we've spat on it and we've just ripped it apart. And truthfully, I mean, I agree with you, Jackus. I just don't know if I don't know if we can return to tradition without a larger washout. So I guess we'll find out later this year. But I'm still bullish on crypto. I'm here for the long run.
Me too.
And I also know that we can outlast the weak conviction that currently exists in crypto. I think.
I still, personally don't get why people are why would people just sort of like trade crypto on like a, and I've never really seen a good argument for it. Like I've seen few, but not that important one. Why would people trade crypto on like a minute time frame or like intraday in general and not trade forex? Because you can get way better liquidity on forex and way more precision too, I would say.
Well, I feel like we're gonna increasingly trend into that commodity asset class, and everything that doesn't kind of get on board with that might get left behind. But I do think that we will get there. It's not going to be necessarily in like linear fashion, but I mean, you've said it before, Jackus. We're in probably a decade of commodities. Commodities on a relative basis are at historically low valuations versus U.S. equity markets. So I think like what will commoditize crypto is ultimately probably going to be capital flight, actually, from like places like China. Maybe it's from places like the US as well. I mean, right now, the driver of crypto price action, I would say, is very much a correlation to US tech. So maybe we have to shake that out a little bit before we see the true commoditization of everything that's not Bitcoin. I don't know. This is just kind of some brainstorming I've been doing as well.
Yeah, Sonic looks good here though, Tommy. I will say that.
Sonic.
Old Sonic. I mean, is this like akin to this? Is this akin to a Matic rebrand? Like,
I think it's closer to like I look at the Sonic chart, I just see like the Sui half pipe or whatever the structure Sui played out, just probably on a much faster timeline. Probably with
half pipe, yeah.
Wait, Matic got as well rebranded? I didn't even know.
Yeah, a while ago.
Called POL now, I think.
POL. Yeah. Also, all these chains are trying to pretend like they didn't exist before and they are something totally brand new.
Bullish.
I suppose, like, yeah.
It's like that scene from The Big Short, Jackus.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking.
That just rebrands it into the 3-day-old halibut into a fish stew.
Well, I suppose it can work, right?
I think it can work. I mean, I've used. I feel like if you've used Sonic, it's actually pretty enjoyable, or like at least easy to use. There's not that much to do on it, right? Like there's Hey Anon, the AI agent, but other than that, I don't hate using the chain. Versus, I still hate using something like Polygon.
I was afraid you're gonna say ETH, man.
I don't hate using ETH when the transaction fees are like 30 or 40 cents. Lesson in that.
Indeed.
I actually have a sleeper asset that could do really well.
A sleeper asset, huh?
Yeah. I've kind of been watching it. I just don't really have, again, I don't know if I trust the thesis on it, but Tron.
Oh no.
That one has been rugging
lately.
Did it rug today?
No.
Not like today, but
I can't tell if that's just going to rug straight to zero. I mean, not literally, obviously, but or if it's going to curl up and blow off again.
yeah, I have no opinion on it either. And when I don't, I usually tend to pass. That's just my way.
I actually have a thesis that this could blow off during a bear market. Because if Tron gets stress tested, obviously there's like $60 billion worth of tether supposedly sitting on Tron network. And there's just way too much at stake for them not to defend that. And I think that would create a shortage of TRX that could maybe cause a blow off in the same way that it did in like August and September. But then after that, it would probably not do very well.
I see
So
your
it's
point.
like an interesting thing to think about.
Well, another interesting point that I was like thinking about, what do you guys think of the consensus that we have that like new coins will outperform the old ones, right? And everyone kind of is bidding the new coins. But what if it's other way around? And after all this time that we've been around, we had, every possible ticker and coin that you could think of. What if it's actually like maybe coins imploding together again, or like kind of like what we've seen, all these merges? Or maybe what if it's like dino coins that actually finally start like going up for a while instead, like more gradual.
Like it because I was looking at dino coins last night, or really over the last few days, Jackus, and I'm getting bullish on a few of them. I feel like they can kind of like really stick out against the rest of the market. One in particular is Litecoin. I know we haven't been super bulled up on it over the last few weeks. Maybe it's time. I was looking at Polymarket odds, and Litecoin has about a 40 to 50% chance of getting an ETF approved before July.
Yeah. I mean, I still have my issues with Litecoin, and I always had. Well, at least in the recent history, that I still do not see a case for LTC unless, like, you guys know that it somehow changed fundamentally. But if it's still the same Litecoin as it used to be, then I still do not see why Litecoin, right? Because you still have again, the argument is still the same. You have BTC that you can divide by multiples. You do not need really Litecoin in that regard. And like a ETF is nice. It can cause a short-term pump. But how is it like a better thing than, its competitors?
The reason I like Litecoin has very little to do with fundamentals, and it's more because I feel like if you just kind of zoom out and look at the Litecoin structure, it looks increasingly like something like XRP. Obviously, the tailwinds are not quite the same. I don't know if I think it. I really am kind of skeptical on the performance, but I feel there are a lot of similarities in the market structures between XRP and Litecoin.
And that is something that I also was discussing when, you guys know, I was expecting that upside for XRP, but I was giving arguments that XRP had lots of bullish catalysts alongside it, where it didn't really run in the for example, it didn't run in the prior cycle due to the SEC case, which is still, by the way, ongoing. And it had lots of those potential things, plus it's something different, it's something of its own, and you can debate of like what need there is for it or not, or something like that, but it's something completely different. Whereas Litecoin, it can have the same structure, but what catalyst does it really have, right? Like new ones that can push it. Yeah, ETF maybe, that's like the only one, but still, why would people buy Litecoin instead of BTC? Just still doesn't make as much sense to me right now, as much as the price action can be mirroring the other ones. But I also learned from prior cycles that price action can be mirroring, but unless you have those catalysts, it doesn't have to deliver on the upside.
Yeah, I mean, this cycle has been such a great example of charts that supposedly look good, but then don't pump.
Yeah. And
It has
it's
to have like actual inflows.
and by the way, there is probably not much more coins that you would want to be like bullish on than Litecoin, right? Like it's very for example, it's very easy to hate on XRP and it's very easy to love Litecoin, right? So I'm just trying to say, even though as much as we can love Litecoin, I'm simply still not finding like much bigger bullish case for it. I think we could see, you know, like if that ETF comes in, sure, you are likely to see some bump, right? But
we've had some questions about these two.
Monero's so tricky because nobody knows anything about the supply. It's like a complete mystery.
Yeah. By the way, missed Bitcoin by Litecoin. I like that's a narrative that you would love, but the problem is that narrative has been around for 10 years now. So that narrative has already been used.
I don't know what to make of Monero, to be honest.
I know.
I feel like it kind of reminds me of like some of these big tech charts have printed fairly similar structures to this, where I mean, it would just kind of imply that Monero's not going to go up parabolically, but it could just kind of grind higher over the coming years.
Let's see. What about Zcash? Another privacy thing.
I'm not a Zcash fan. This is like Monero, but the founder dumps on you all the time.
That's a crazy. This is the.
It's like ICP.
It's like ICP, yeah.
Like ICP with that sort of wick.
ICP.
Do you remember when ICP was at like $1,000?
Oh man, yeah, it looks just like Curve. It looks very similar to Curve. I mean, if I were to buy like a DeFi dino, it'd be like Aave. Yeah, it would have to be like Aave in here, Aave in here.
Aave looks like it's about to give some sort of complacency shoulder to me, probably over the coming weeks.
Aave to me is one of very few that looks good.
Yeah. It kind of looks like that. I know you're gonna know what I'm referencing, Jackus, but the NDX like echo bubble.
Oh man, you mean Amazon, ETH?
Not even Amazon, just NDX.
Okay, hold up.
You mean like NASDAQ?
Yeah, like NASDAQ. Obviously, it came up much higher though.
So you're talking about this?
But yeah.
Oh, in 07?
Yeah.
I would love that outcome. Considering the current drop is that 08 drop.
Yeah, then just go up only for 20 years.
Well, that time frame of
my bags.
Yeah.
The time frame is obviously different in TradFi versus crypto, because even you can see like the .com bubble came in 00.
Yeah.
And then you have the the bottom in 08, so it's quite faster here. But and you know the meme, right? One day here is 7 years on Earth. Good, we can hodl here. Anyways, what do you guys make of the total indexes, for example?
I haven't looked at total in a minute.
Let's look at total DeFi while we're looking at that as well.
Oh, Tommy.
You know I love to look at total DeFi, Tucker.
I feel like most people don't even know this chart exists.
There is also like direct DeFi index. I'm not sure if you are aware of that, Tommy. It's DeFi USDT.perp.
The FTX used to have a DeFi index chart that I would use all the time, but now I can't, unfortunately, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I remember those indexes were pretty good. Oh, you had it there, Tucker, the DeFi USDT.perp.
Wait, that was what you
Wait, is this real or is this just
this is total DeFi.
is this
No.
real? Wait, what's XRP doing?
Is it breaking? Like, is it breaking news?
Yeah, is it breaking news?
Or is it like quote unquote breaking news?
Oh.
Quote unquote breaking news.
Yeah, if you go on that pair DeFi USDT.perp.
Oh yeah, that's 2 minutes ago.
Oh wow.
Wow. You know what we also have in April, guys? Sorry for cutting you off, Jackus, but we have FTX payouts, or not payouts, but another round of like FTX unlocks. So I think they're going to want to pump the coins into that.
Yeah, it said should be. What did it say? It said in the process of wrapping up and could be over soon. So that's pretty vague. That's probably not super actionable. I think it already kind of got. I mean, don't you guys think it already got the lawsuit closing pump? Like,
no, that wasn't the.
I mean,
the
it
closing
pump
pump
in like a short amount of time.
Yeah, just saying it wasn't based on the case being closed, but.
Okay. You think this was solely from Trump? I guess the timing is right. Jeez.
ETH is giving me vibes that it wants to trade back into like 1750 again, but I think we'll bounce from there.
Yeah, it does give me those vibes too.
I think it'll be a nice little bear trap.
I would love some good old bear traps. I feel this market has suffered quite a lot.
Yes, it has. I mean, just look at look at on-chain things, man. That is just a beaten down space. But I think with that, there's going to be a lot of opportunity now playing these bounces.
One of the most something that I was going to say before is that one of the most bullish things, in my opinion, is that the different approach from SEC that we are now seeing. In the past 4-year term, the SEC was simply attacking the whole crypto, right? And I think that's also the big reason why we have seen for the past 4 years crypto to underperform. I think now in these next 4 years, we will see SEC to step down. And as I said, I think this administration hopefully brings the regulatory clarity, and SEC just stops harassing basically every crypto project. Like they literally sent the Wells notice to nearly every project. and that alone stopped lots of them to do anything. It really hurt crypto in big way. So I think this getting out of the way, and we have seen lots of these news lately. There's SEC is now like stopping, the trials with all of these companies and so forth. But we'll see if crypto can pull out from that shithole.
Yeah, unfortunately, they kind of added, or they kind of just like extended the time horizon needed for a lot of new liquidity to come into crypto, and it did hurt crypto. I think the most like obvious way to see it is in the way. It's so funny. I remember last year we were discussing how bad VCs were, but if you look at the primary difference between now and 2021 and 2020, I think we had only like a third, certainly less than half as much VC investment as we did in that cycle, and it reflected in the altcoin market.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody asked about the blood moon, Tommy.
I feel like we've kind of front run the blood moon a little bit.
Blood moon is the bottom. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe we get some sort of like dump, but it could be from higher prices. I'm not super concerned about the blood moon, to be honest, but I could eat my words there. I guess we'll see. I am not one to fade the stars, but it is a full moon, right? Those are typically bullish.
Interesting.
I don't know. I would be a little more worried about the solar eclipse that we have at the end of the month than the blood moon.
Why? Tell me why.
Because it's a new moon, and solar eclipses are usually more bearish than lunar eclipses, from what I have gathered. But eclipse seasons are kind of like turning points. They're transition seasons.
When is the eclipse?
We've got one on the 14th, and then I think we have one on the 28th.
Okay.
I think silver is really going for it now.
Silver?
Silver.
Yeah, at last.
Are you telling me I should buy a watch?
Oh my god. Look at that.
Well, if you bought watch and held it instead of most crypto, it outperformed. So
That chart does look pretty. Why does it kind of look like BNB ETH?
I see what you mean.
That looks pretty damn good, Jackus.
Look really good.
It does.
When generational bottom? Probably summer. It's my guess.
But if I put this in a line, will it give me all the... Oh, yeah, look at that. Tommy, I bet there's some good fractals from back in the 1800s.
Man, you already know I've looked at that price action to see if I could find anything applicable, and I haven't been able to.
Man.
But you best believe I've been looking at it.
A lot of people are talking about the this ratio, right?
Oh, you mean ETH Bitcoin?
Yeah, pretty much.
No kidding.
So that's yeah.
With one exception, the silver gold ratio had that COVID sweep below its 20-year low, and that's pretty bullish to me.
The silver to gold ratio.
What are the conditions required for silver to pump on like a fundamental level? I know it'll be in the charts, but like what is the primary reason you would hold silver instead of gold?
The fundamental reason is that silver is being used for lots of computer, even stuff like chips. You need to use it for EVs that are definitely on the rise as well. So generally in anything sort of electronic. And as we know, we are rapidly moving towards electronic era. You'll probably have lots of robotics as well. So it's being used to a big degree, and lots of the supply has already been bought to a big degree too. Plus, I think and I'm not an expert on this, but I think like it's really hard to get it again and again. So like when you throw away your old parts of your PC, phones and stuff, it's really hard because it's really used in like microweight, to put it, because we use grams, you guys use something different, I'm not even sure what. But the thing is that it's really hard when you throw away that old stuff to get it again and use that silver again, as far as I'm aware too. So like you kind of have a diminishing supply in that region too. And
So what you're saying is, if in theory there were something that put stress on the chips market this year, that would be very bullish for silver.
Could be.
Interesting.
I mean the chart is kind of reflecting all that knowledge in the background as well, but I love to have that knowledge too, because it adds conviction to the TA that you are seeing regardless, right? Which is amazing. Yeah, plus you have obviously all the boomers who are stacking up silver like crazy. But rather than like me seeing it from like a, that like we will start going to shops with the silver coins again, I rather view it from this perspective, where it's a commodity that's widely being used and needed. And it's cheaper than gold, because like you can use gold for the pretty much the same stuff that you use silver for, but gold is way more scarce and more expensive.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think you want both. You don't. There's no reason to say you should own this one or you should own that one. I think owning both is the move.
yeah,
Sure.
as always, I just
Yeah.
think that the ratio, if you want to hold both, favors silver in that regard. Yeah, that's a good point from Nicholas, that I forgot, a lot of silver is a byproduct of other metals being mined, so it's not mined as specific as gold. That's true too. Not many primary silver mines, yeah.
Are there any other commodities worth like prospecting over the next few years? Because
I was looking at palladium.
I'm really increasingly getting in the camp that like U.S. equities are going to range for a long time, which is great if you're a trader. Obviously, not great if you're just like a passive index buyer. But that would mean, in theory, that commodities outperform. And usually, when I have that opinion, I do something with nat gas and just get shat on. But
I think so. I think, as I've been saying, I think it's the decade of commodities. We see, like, even on a global scale, we see all of these new wars, right? And I think it's a good way, because in the past we would just see one nation attack another, and it would be World War III. Nowadays we do have few wars around the world, but it's more like trade wars. It's a tariff war and so forth, and that's definitely better, as it's at least not, like literal tanks running around on the battlefield. But we do see lots of uncertainty around the world. We see the global sort of power scale changing. And usually when you get that period, you tend to see a rise in commodities, as that period is also associated with higher inflation and so forth. So I think when this is all said and done, I think commodities will be higher, and then there will be new sort of like global establishment, of powers until like the next period. And so you might have like by the end of 20s, it might be done. And I think for the next like 10-20 years, you will have rather relative peace. So some very smart people that I listen to occasionally. They also call it the Bretton Woods 3, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but the Bretton Woods system was established after World War II, where you had every basically major currency pegged to the dollar, which was pegged to the gold until 1971. That's when dollar got unpegged from gold. That's sort of Bretton Woods 2. And with the Russian-Ukraine war starting and that ethics reserve of dollars from Russia has been seized, that's sort of when they start to say that that's the beginning of like the new era of global power scale.
Yeah, I know everybody seems to attribute the gold standard ending with Nixon, but I believe the Bretton Woods Act was signed by Lyndon B. Johnson. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. I saw somebody, I like this comment. I was actually, I agree. I don't really know quite how to play it myself. And Jackus, I don't know how much you look at something like uranium. It's something I don't look at enough to be able to have an actionable opinion on, but I have been kind of just like passively paying attention to it. Chem Carson was mentioning, or Carson, was mentioning, he was mentioning on a podcast, he hasn't really promoted it, but there's like a big right tail event for uranium potentially. If I mean, there's a kind of a black swan event nobody's discussing, which is Russia invading Kazakhstan, where obviously there are huge amounts of uranium reserves. So I think that could be something to pay attention to as well. I don't know if like when that would happen, but you know, we talk about a decade of commodities. Clearly, a lot of I would say like the trend going forward for the United States, China, Russia, these global powers is going to be accumulating and seizing as much resources and commodities as they can, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. I mean that's definitely happening. Even if you look at China, they've been like signing lots of detrimental mines around the world so that they have supply for all of their production in the coming years and decades, right? After all, they are really playing the long game. So that's definitely kind of happening. Like, it's really tough to play it because, like, how would you as a retail buy something like that, right? So you usually, like, I think still the best thing to do is really focus on the basics, which is still silver, gold, and BTC as from the commodity side. I think they are getting their run for this period, and I think once they finish their run, I think both or all of them, silver, gold, and Bitcoin, will chill for a longer period of time. I think even like when BTC chills with others at that point, I think BTC can easily like not do anything for like 5 to 10 years then.
Dude, gold looks absolutely insane, Jack. I mean,
Yeah, traders told me it's overbought, man.
I really hate whoever decided that overbought and oversold would be how you characterize RSI was clearly just trying to keep an edge. I feel like because it's just it's used, it's just counterintuitive to what it actually means. You usually get the biggest moves when you are overbought or oversold.
Yeah, they also told me that there is an FVG that needs to get retouched, and I mean it could, but it's not that it has to, man. Yeah, and the thing is that they really miss the forest, and that's that central bankers are they have permabit on gold for the next, still they like they had it and they still do have it for the next 3 years. That's just it.
Damn.
Look at the on gold, the bull market from the year 2000 till 2012.
2000 to 2012.
Zoom in on it a little bit, and if you look at closely, yeah, this one. And if you look at closely, you'll see that it really wasn't losing any monthly support all the way through those years.
Yeah.
And I tend to think that we do not go below 2,600 right now.
2,600.
Yeah. And I think this can easily keep going for the next 5 years to the upside. Like this. Like you'll get those little spikes as you got before. Like up and down, but generally I still think the permabit is going to go in, as the nations, they simply do not trust each other as much as before to keep buying each other's debt and currency, and instead they are using that accumulated currency from like the past 10-20 years to buy gold.
What do you think about I don't know if you guys saw it, but Canada basically is going to be, from my understanding, they're going to be paying, I think, their own currency to issue bonds in US that are payable in like US dollars. Usually that's a sign that the currency is not particularly strong. It's a shakedown, man. They're trying to make them become the 51st state.
That's crazy. Tell me what's happening over there.
I don't understand it well enough to be able to explain it more than that, but I think it's kind of a sign that there's not a lot of faith in the Canadian dollar. But
is it just like a trade move, like scare them off, cause some panic, and then settle it, or is it like an actual move for it to happen?
Okay, so again, I could be totally wrong in this explanation, but I believe it just means that they're trying to create demand for the Canadian dollar by saying that the bonds will be repayable in USD.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it is.
Some volatility on the pair, huh?
Yeah. God, that's such a nasty move.
I know. Boom, and then dropped it below. Jeez.
Oh wow. Swept it swept both of the highs.
Yep,
Yeah.
it swept both of them. Damn, is it cooked?
Does that look like the dollar before it trended a lot higher, just like the dollar index?
Wait, this one.
I mean, it did sweep those highs, but as of now, it's still in a bull market. So kind
Talking
of
about the where?
It kind of looks like the dollar index before it made that push in 2022.
What? Where it just like this?
Yeah.
Type of thing. I mean, it came down a lot after the last sweep, but
No, I think it could be like further along, but I don't know. I mean, it's not really an exact fractal, and I don't understand the dynamics of the trade enough to.
I think this one
them.
can be. I think this one can be tricky because lots of people will view the chart this way and view it as like you just had a breakout, and you might get the retest, but.
I see. All right, you want to outro us, Tommy?
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to wrap up when we're talking about the the Canadian dollar. But it was a good show, guys. I think we cooked pretty hard today. Covered a lot of actionable topics.
Sure.
You enjoyed the show today. We do have a way for you to continue to get more alpha, including obviously some of the picks that we like. At least I like for a counter trend rally here over the next few weeks. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in all BTC. I really do. Maybe some more bearish chop, obviously, here over the next few days, but I do think that we will resolve higher on alts at some point here, probably in March or April. But yeah, if you enjoyed what you heard here today, you do have a few ways that you can potentially join the family. Obviously, we just mentioned the Discord, the premium Discord, guys, which we also packaged with the BB terminal. But in that Discord, you get 4 to 5 hours of daily calls. We give our positional analysis, our thoughts on the market in real time. And we've got some really amazing community members in there as well that provide a ton of alpha in various sectors of the market. So there really is just so much in that brain trust of a Discord. So come check it out. Like I said, we were nice enough to package this together with your go-to tool for this cycle, the BB terminal. Whether or not you are an active trader on lower time frames, a long-term investor, and soon an on-chain degen, we've got the go-to tool for you. So come check out both of these products. Of course, if you are looking to hone your educational base or even reach trading level mastery, we've got the product for you as well. Come check out the BB Academy. Come learn from Jackus, Max, Tucker, me, and more throughout the BB team, how we look at markets, how we trade the markets, and much more. And lastly, maybe the markets, look, the market volatility has been pretty insane lately. Having to manage a portfolio can feel overwhelming at times. We've got a solution for you as well, and that's BB Wealth Management. A reminder that we are not just an SEC registered hedge fund, guys, but we look to manage digital assets in a way that captures their asymmetric history for upside returns while also balancing the downside risks posed in any financial market. So come check it out. Everything that I've just mentioned is linked in the description below. But that's it from us, guys. We hope that you enjoyed Market Check. We'll be back for another episode tomorrow, just like we are every weekday whenever the New York Stock Exchange is open. Typical start time around 11 a.m., 11:15 Eastern Standard. But make sure as well to check out Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is a Twitter Spaces through the Because Bitcoin X account as well as Wabi's account. So make sure to stay following and subscribed to both of those accounts so you can be notified not just when we get not just when we schedule those spaces, but of course also when we go live. You guys crack me up.
Wake up the gimp. But the game's sleeping.
Oh man, I might be taking a nap later today, but that's neither here nor there. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you as always for tuning in, and of course, stay safe.